Hello there. You're listening to the Box Office Show. I'm Ryan Hill.
And I'm Dylan Johnson. Today we're going to be talking about the box office numbers from last weekend and our box office predictions for this upcoming weekend.
We're also going to be reviewing MCU's latest film, The Fantastic Four First Steps, to see how it compares to the earlier iterations of Marvel's greatest super family in the 2005 and 2015 versions. Start out with some news. Ahead of Fantastic Four First Steps, we got a trailer, and we also got confirmation that I will be winning this year's box office draft. Avatar Fire and Ash is coming out December 19th. They put out the trailer, so it's a done deal at this point. It's got to happen.
Fuck you, man.
I'm thrilled. I'm just so thrilled. James Cameron again. Never bet against him. I had never done it. And I never will. And I'm also, although I think the trailer itself was like not the strongest. Again, he kind of just puts out like, here's random images from the film and just be wowed at like how amazing it looks and, you know, the technology that they have to render out the Na'vi in such great detail. He kind of just uses that to flex on us like every trailer, but that's fine. I'm excited for it. I'm intrigued.
That's going to become old, though, in terms of the trailers, because it was a flex for the last trailer that came out, because it had been, over 10 years since the first movie came out, and it looks significantly better. But there's not much of a step up from that movie to this movie, They're very much comparable. So, you get two more movies down the line, I'm going to want a trailer with some substance to get me to want to watch the movie, Or I want the movies to really leave me on a cliffhanger.
Indeed.
But to me, the trailer just kind of looks like repeating the Way of the Water plot, but with fire Na'vi. And I don't know. It just kind of looks like the same old thing. They're trying to fight the humans. Humans are trying to fight them.
Yeah,
how many times can they do it?
They're fighting Na'vi.
I guess.
Just humans. So
we'll see, man.
But yeah, I'm excited and very thrilled that we are in fact getting it this year.
I bet you are, yeah. Fucking dick. In other news, we have a teaser trailer and a title for Vince Gilligan's new show. It is called Pluribus.
Mm-hmm.
The lead character is indeed played by Rhea Seehorn. Rhea Seehorn? Is it Ray?
Yeah.
Crazy. Ray Seehorn. And have you seen the teaser trailer yet, Ryan?
With a donut being licked, many donuts, in fact, being licked.
Indeed.
Yeah, and then the still image of, I don't know, someone looks like putty or whatever, yellow putty, and then
in like a petri dish
making a smiley face. Yeah. So still no idea what this is about, but it's Vince Gilligan. Will definitely be.
I'm locked in, dude. Sure. I'm not 100% on the title. Pluribus with a 1 instead of the I. Mm-hmm. Not completely locked into that title, but hey, locked into the show, locked into the concept. I'm game. I'm very, very excited. It's been too long. I just finished Better Call Saul again and Breaking Bad again. It's been too long since he's had a show out. I'm psyched. Not super psyched that it's on Apple TV. They don't have the best track record, but Vince Gilligan quite literally does have the best track record. So
that is very true.
We'll see.
But yeah, all right. Let's jump into the box office breakdown for July 18th to the 20th. Superman and second weekends remained on top. It had 58 million, which was about like a 54% drop, something like that. Mm-hmm. Which is good.
Yeah.
That was what I was hoping for. So it's now got 235 million domestic. It's doing very well for itself domestically. Again, those international numbers are not as strong, which is worrisome. But domestically at least, this thing is getting very high up there. It'll break 350 million by the end of this, I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely. In second place, Jurassic World Rebirth with 23.7 million.
I Know What You Did Last Summer, debuting to 12.7 million.
Smurfs with Rihanna, which is the only thing I know about the movie because they very prominently displayed that Smurfette is being played by Rihanna in all of their advertising. It's almost the tagline for the movie. Rihanna is Smurfette. Made $11 million.
Yes. F1 the movie 9.8 million, bringing its domestic total over 150 million.
How to Train Your Dragon made 5.4 million, bringing its domestic total to 250 million.
Mm-hmm. Eddington with 4.4 million in its
Great
wide
movie.
release.
You
Oof.
guys should go see Eddington. I will. We will be talking about it on here at some point, but go see Eddington. It's great. Elio, 2.1 million.
Lilo and Stitch 1.5 million, meaning it has now crossed $1 billion worldwide,
Crazy.
becoming the first Hollywood film to break the $1 billion barrier this year. Second overall, with Ninja 2 already having mounted 1 billion like almost instantly earlier in the year. But that one, of course, was never eligible for our box office draft.
I
Lilo and
wish.
Stitch on my roster, now becoming the first $1 billion film of the year. So beautiful. Great
Did you
job.
see that they're re-releasing Ninja 2 in America with an English language voice cast?
Yeah, I did see that. I wish they would have just. I'd be very down for a re-release of the original.
I'm
Like,
thinking they might do both. They might like drop both. It's like they'll
we'll
have
see.
some theaters showing the English dub and some theaters showing
I'm
it
hoping to
in
do
the
that. I
original
know
Chinese.
Michelle Yeoh is a part of it,
Mm,
but I haven't seen what else is like the voice cast. Because
yeah,
with the what was the Studio Ghibli film that just came out, The
yeah,
Boy and the Heron, and
yeah.
they had a massive cast attached to that. This one so far they've only announced like Michelle Yeoh as a major figure. So I don't know if that's a good thing or bad thing. They're just gonna try and do, I don't know, go for like actual voice actors rather
Hmm.
than celebrities to do voice parts. Um, so I don't know. A24 being the one to distribute that
Isn't that
re-release is
crazy?
very
It's
fascinating.
a good get for them. Yeah, that's
Hmm.
huge. I'll be checking it out for sure when it re-releases. And in its final appearance in the top 10, 28 years later, with 1.3 million.
There we go. And for this upcoming weekend, Fantastic Four First Steps will be releasing. It'll be the one to look out for. This film is on your roster.
Mm.
So, what do you think it will get in its debut weekend, July 25th to the 27th?
It's breaking 100 mil. Easy. Maybe 120, baby. We're going for it. I'm coming for you, Superman.
Do you think it will surpass Superman? Superman had 125 million in its opening.
It could. It's close.
It's going to be very close. We'll see. And that'll kind of sort of inform which one ends up on top overall in its final gross. I think, I mean, obviously the bias is going to be there, but I'm going to say Superman holds on to it with 125 mil. I think Fantastic Four will get close, may even break 120 mil, but I don't think it'll have enough to get across 125. But we will see. Either way, it'll be a strong debut for the newest MCU film. But let's go ahead and backtrack to before the MCU even existed, before it was even a thought, the year 2005, where we were getting, X-Men films and Spider-Man films, Batman Begins, right? So the wave of comic book movies was really starting in
Yeah.
earnest. And we had an adaptation of Fantastic Four from Stan Lee and Jack Kirby, and it was from 20th Century Fox, directed by Tim Story, which I just thought was a very, when I saw the end credits and it was like directed by Tim Story, like, wow, Story himself directed this. So we'll see if
Tim story.
it was peak Story or
Yeah.
not in the 2005 Fantastic Four. But I assume you've seen this film previously.
Oh
Can
yeah, I watched this when I was a kid.
can
Absolutely.
you recollect any of your thoughts back then as a kid, and then over time, if your thoughts had changed, if you did any rewatches for it, what was your connection to the original Fantastic Four?
When I was a kid, I really liked like seeing their interpretation of the Thing. I thought Johnny Storm was fun. I
Hmm.
thought Jessica Alba was beautiful.
Oh yes.
I thought Doctor Doom was really really cool,
Hmm.
and I really enjoyed the movie. And I have not seen it since until 3 days ago. The first time I've seen it since probably before 2010.
Hmm.
And Doctor Doom is lame. He's not cool.
Yep.
Jessica Alba is still beautiful.
Oh, for sure.
Johnny Storm, still awesome. Love
Hmm.
Chris Evans. And my favorite part Absolutely. Is Michael Chiklis as the Thing. He's fantastic.
He's so good.
He's incredible in this
It's
role.
amazing, yeah, and there's, portions of it that have been cut out, like, there's deleted scenes, back when we had those things and whatnot, you can check
Mhm.
out on DVDs. There's a whole lot more to his story as well,
Yeah.
which I wish
He's a
they would include more
great
because
story arc
the
for
strongest
yeah.
storyline in the film is him dealing with everything.
Yeah. It's incredible. And watching him like struggle with this appearance, having to find the clothes to fit into, having his fiance or his wife leave him,
The wedding
you know.
ring! He's trying
Yeah,
to
and then
pick up
he
the wedding ring and he can't
yeah.
because his fingers are too big, and also there's only 4 of them now.
Yeah.
He
Also,
fi
did you see Julian McMahon, who played Doctor Doom in this movie? He passed away like 3 weeks ago.
I heard, yeah,
That's
very
terrible.
unfortunate.
I think he had lung cancer, maybe.
Mhm, very sad.
So sad.
But, okay, so you had not revisited Fantastic Four since you were a kid, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. Also, Mr. Fantastic in the movie, he looks great. I think he looks like how Mr.
He looks
Fantastic
the
should
part, like,
look.
it's
Yeah, one hundred
he's
percent
always just been, like, the image of Mr. Fantastic,
for
like,
sure.
kinda perfect.
But underwhelming, man. Like I
Mm,
don't feel like he's like the super genius that Reed Richards is, and they also just don't show any of his big stretchy stuff except for grabbing the thing and like wrapping himself around the thing. It's like all he kind of
yeah.
really does, and he just doesn't really do any big smart, super smarty guy things as much as I
He
wish he would.
twists himself into, like, a hose or something to
Yeah,
collect
sure. To
and
spray water
direct the water, yeah.
on Doom. Yeah.
It's pretty
Again,
fun.
I thought Doom was very underwhelming. Having rewatched it now, because Doctor Doom is like the one of the end all be all villains of like the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Not just like he is originally like the villain of the Fantastic Four, but he has transcended into being like the biggest villain, the most intimidating villain in the entire comic book universe. And he's just kind of a whiny baby billionaire in this movie. Is how they kind of wrote the character.
Yeah, you just don't like your, CEO billionaire villains to be whiny. Lex Luthor, Doctor
Yeah, it does
Doom,
remind me of Lex Luthor. Yeah, you're right.
and it's
Absolutely.
very the thing what I loved about, like, the concept of this episode, because it's 10 years between each of these films, so we see the '05 version, 2015, and now 2025. In the comic book landscape has changed so much, like comic book movies in particular. So I thought it
Mm,
would be a great way to, like, just see how that stuff has changed and evolved, and then
yeah,
how they try and do different takes on these characters as a result. With all of these films, I would say, like, a massive issue just with, like, this specific adaptation of Fantastic Four is they never get Doctor Doom right. They don't really get Reed Richards right. Like,
yeah.
they all kind of miss what you see in the comics and, like, TV adaptations or some of the video game adaptations is, like, Doctor Doom is, as you said, like, the end all be all, like, just ruthlessly evil, but also, again, like, crazy smart,
Mm,
incredible, has all these different powers. But his Achilles heel, similar to Lex Luthor, is just that, like, insurmountable jealousy of Reed Richards, of, like, somebody else that he thinks is a little bit better than them, and he needs to prove
mm,
that he's not. Like, he's
yeah.
not the best. I'm the
Which they
best.
do. They
So
do
take
have
him.
in this movie. They do have it
They
in
have
all the
that. They have, like,
movies.
the shred of that
Yeah.
where
But my
he's
problem in this one is that he's jealous over him getting Sue Storm, and so
mhm.
that kind of just makes Jessica Alba's entire character more or less just like like a point of contention for the actual main characters to fight over, as opposed to being a real character herself. She doesn't really do much in the movie, and I feel bad
Yeah.
because Jessica Alba's great, and she deserves a better character. And they just, I think they really stiffed her on a good character in this movie.
Mhm. So there's that issue, and then with Reed Richards as well, to some extent, I mean, they all show that he's supposed to be, like, a smart guy, and to some extent, we may see that more in action, or we may just get told it more in some films compared to others. But the other part that's missing is because he's so, like, smart, this super genius and everything, he's just kind of bad with people in a way. Like, he's very arrogant, bad with people, kind of a dick. We never really get that in any of these films either. Like, here, his whole issue is he's too passive. Like, Jessica Alba was saying, like, make a move, like, want me, do something, and he's not doing that. And it's like
Mm,
they kind of get, like, where he's like, oh, he's just in his head overthinking everything there, but I feel like they should have come at it from a different direction to more capture the essence of, like, Reed Richards being like he's just despite himself because he's such a super genius, like, he doesn't know how to, like, be good with human emotions. And then We'll talk about when we get to First Steps, how they handle Reed in that film. I didn't think it was particularly great. And then we'll talk about the 2015 one where, yeah, just many problems overall there. So I wasn't expecting great encapsulation of a Reed Richards in that one either. But that was my biggest concern, was like all of these other characters, especially Human Torch. Like I feel like there's a good, solid, strong handle. Kind of hard to mess that up. With Reed, still, I feel like after 3 iterations, we haven't gotten the true Reed Richards yet. So, but okay, what other things of the 2005 film stood out to you that you enjoyed?
It's very of that era. It's very like practical when it can be, very comic booky, and then very wonky CGI that they're kind of like forcing in there.
The Mr.
Big
Fantastic stuff,
dramatic
the
sets.
rubbery CGI.
They're trying to make it look like you're looking at a comic book panel the entire time. You know, they have these giant, crazy sets. They have these very like comic book accurate costumes. They're not trying to be like very serious about it. It's trying to be very kind of like fun. They're following the lead of those Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies and the X-Men movies pretty closely in terms of just being kind of larger than life.
Dude, just an epic skiing montage, snowboarding montage for no reason.
With Maria Menounos, that shit was awesome.
Like, just
they jump out of a helicopter.
Reason. They do, yeah.
I remember loving that part of the movie when I was a kid, where he like is like on the skis and then he like starts to flame on accident and he shoots forward and he lands in the ice and he's in there in like a hot tub and then she joins him. And I remember like thinking that was really awesome as a kid, and watching it as an adult, it is still awesome. It is so sick.
It is really cool. I love the way you have Ben Grimm is waking up. It's a POV and Johnny's there trying to be like, look, they did everything they can. You just need to like be prepared, be ready. And when he looks in the mirror, it's just, he's normal. He's not the thing yet. Yeah. I loved that. And then how they slowly showed each of them learning about their powers.
Dude, they go really heavy in the Ben and Johnny feuding in this movie. Like,
they do. And I love it. I love that dynamic.
It's kind of fun, but at a certain point, it's like, you guys are just fucking assholes to each other. Like, you fucking hate each other. You cannot be on a team together. This is like a non-functioning relationship. Like they don't really have like a reconciliation at any point either. Maybe they do in the second movie. I haven't watched that, or didn't rewatch that one. So I don't know. But man, oof, they just fucking hate each other, man.
Yeah, I mean they always had that banter back and forth at the beginning, and then it got worse and worse because Johnny was, he's a dick. Being a bit of a bully about the Thing looking like the Thing. Yeah. But I mean, they worked together as a team at the very end, which is fine. But that is one thing about this 2005 film that I enjoyed, was the team actually had conflicts within themselves. Like they were arguing, they had disagreements, they had different wants at certain points. Again, Johnny just wants to go off and enjoy his powers because he got, the best of those powers. And then the Thing obviously is distraught with his powers. Again, his wife leaves him. Everyone sees him as like a monster when he's just walking around. So he wants to get turned back to normal. And then, Reed is trying to do that for his friends since he feels all the guilt for it. So I love that there was those just areas of conflict that the team had to face. And then at the end, they all come together. And on the bridge, they had to come together in their different ways, use their power to save the people, which I thought was great. That's another thing that, just looking at different, eras of comic book movies and stuff, like in the original Spider-Man, the Raimi ones, in this Fantastic Four, you see more superheroes saving people, like normal.
Yeah, just doing everyday good for like just normal things that happen, not fighting like big supervillains, just being a superhero day to day.
Yeah, and I miss that, and I like Superman that they leaned into that.
Last time we really did that was like Spider-Man: Homecoming, where they have the montage where he's just the neighborhood Spider-Man, stopping the bike thief and just doing normal stuff, getting a cat out of a tree, shit like that. It's fun.
So I enjoy that stuff. It was great seeing it. One thing about the bridge scene, why did they have Sue Storm?
Dude, thank you.
Why invisible?
What's the point?
They walk around. She comes back, and then she goes invisible again, takes off the rest of her clothes. Then we cut, and it's like they just walked.
Like they walked around. It was
you still have to like bump through people. And
They were
then
trying to show her powers that she can go invisible, and also they wanted to show Jessica Alba in her underwear.
yeah, that was the real reason, is they
Just
just wanted
completely
to do that.
unnecessary. Completely
Um,
unnecessary. They do it twice. They do it twice where she has to strip naked.
yeah, but the other time it's like, okay, whatever, because it doesn't focus on any of that. It's just her running away from the crowd. Which if they had just done that, then it'd
So
be fine.
unnecessary.
But this earlier one was like, come on, because she goes invisible and then comes back when she's
Yeah.
just in her underwear, and then she goes invisible again. But yeah, it's like they just walked around anyway. Like Johnny and Reed didn't go invisible, and yet they somehow still got around. Why did they
Yeah.
need like her to go invisible for that?
Just so dumb.
That was silly. That was really ridiculous.
Gratuitous and unnecessary.
But yeah, overall, again, I think like Chris Evans as Johnny Storm is really good, like extremely
Yeah.
entertaining. Again, Michael Chiklis has the emotion, like that part of it is just so strong, really well done. Also, the
Logically, he's
practical
covered in
effects.
fucking rocks,
The
dude.
practical effects, yeah, were like really good because you'd still see all the emotions. You can
He's
see his
really
eyes.
embodying it well, even though he's covered in fucking rocks.
Um, and
It's
so I
so
think
impressive.
that was an amazing choice. And we'll talk about the later iterations, how
Yeah, he
I
does.
think
He still looks really
if
good
there's
as the
no,
thing.
yeah, no reason to go full CGI if the practical worked this well. Like they nailed it.
Yeah.
So yeah, overall I thought that was good. But yeah, Doctor Doom, this iteration, not the best villain. Very kind of just one note.
Yeah, I just wasn't a fan. He just wasn't very intimidating. He didn't really do much outside of just killing one guy and kind of messing things around. Like he just didn't feel like an imposing presence, really.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't feel like an arch villain, you know? Which is crazy because you look at like the Sam Raimi Spider-Man and he's able to balance like a full origin story for Spider-Man, a full origin story for the Green Goblin, and then make the Green Goblin like a menacing villain that pushes Spider-Man to his limits at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's like a lot of story to pack into one movie, and he's able to do it very, very well. And this one, I think they just kind of miss the mark in terms of it's harder to balance 5 different origin stories at once, and then also take 4 of them and mold them into a team. Especially when at the beginning of the movie, they're not technically a team yet. Like Sue is working for Doctor Doom, as is Johnny, and Ben and Reed are just using them to go to space. So they aren't quite like on the same page together. They just have
Yeah.
a history, which helps, but they just don't really know each other. So it makes it more difficult for the 4 of them to specifically align together and for Doom to align against them. It's just because of Doom is a dick, I guess. But he just doesn't really do much, you know?
Yeah.
There's just too much going on and not done well enough. I do think it is still cool when he blows a hole through the guy's chest. I
Oh,
thought
for
that was
sure.
cool as a kid. I think it's cool now. I just don't think he has like enough powers. You know, like Doctor Doom is like,
Or well defined enough
yeah.
powers. That was the issue there. It was like,
My
what
big issue
exactly
with the depictions
can he do?
of Doctor Doom and Reed is they both have like superpowers. They're both superheroes, right? But their real superpower is like their genius intellect, and they're willing to do battle against one another as like 2 super intelligent beings
Mm-hmm.
beyond just having like physical abilities. And in this one, it feels more like fucking high schoolers battling each other with superpowers because they're just doing like what happens when rubber gets really cold, what happens when metal gets really hot. Like it's like things that like a 4-year-old or like a 5-year-old learns in science class. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't really feel like a battle of wits.
Interesting. What would you have wanted them to do though? So I thought that part was at least them like leaning on their scientific backgrounds and whatnot,
Yeah, but it's
and being
like
like, here's like how we can use what you are, like your superpower, and then make that a weakness.
yeah, but I think it's just so simple. I want like a cat and mouse game of like trying to catch one another into a trap using your wits. Almost like, you know, watching Walter White and Gus Fring go at one another as a battle of wits in that the
Mm-hmm.
entire season 4 of Breaking Bad. You know what I mean? They are both like the most intelligent characters in the show, and they are like doing battle with one another. And I think that is something that could happen where it's not just like exploiting each other's superpowers or like having a big action scene. It's like plotting against one another as opposed to just doing something and trying to win a battle. It's about the war, man. It's not about the battles.
Gotcha. Interesting. Well, maybe you'll see that in Doomsday or Secret Wars when they have a little more
Maybe.
time
I hope.
to try and play with a long-term cat and mouse game like that. But for a 2-hour, less than 2-hour film that they had here, I think is a decent enough approach to try and resolve that and get him defeated.
I guess.
Yeah, all right. How many solar flare storms out of 5 for this one?
2.5.
Gotcha. I'm giving it 3.
Okay.
That was entertaining. That was enjoyable. Let's talk about Fantastic Four 2015.
Were you able to finish it for
This
the
one
show?
directed by Josh Trank. I did finish it.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, this one a reboot, focusing on younger versions of the characters. Miles Teller's in it. Michael B. Jordan. So they had some fresh faces, upcoming stars. What'd you think?
Let me ask you, when was the first time you watched this movie? Did you watch it when it came out?
2015 in
You watched it when
theaters.
it came
Yeah.
out? I skipped it, and I never watched it because I heard a lot of bad things, and I already knew that the original Fantastic Four wasn't too great, from what people were saying and from kind of what I could remember. And so people were saying that this one was even worse. And so I was like, why would I even watch it? What's the point? I know that they just keep messing up the Fantastic Four. There's no point even checking it out. And I had to watch it for this show. So this is the first, 10 years later, is my first time ever seeing it. I saw it 2 days ago. It commits the worst sin that a movie can make.
Boring.
Boring as fuck, dude.
Yeah.
It is so fucking boring. At least the first one is like entertaining at times. They do like crazy fun things and the characters are having a good time. This one is just so boring. Nothing happens.
It's bleak. It's drab. It's
the Fantastic Four
no one's having fun.
themselves, dude. They do not have any chemistry whatsoever. They have no chemistry. Ben and Reed don't have chemistry. Reed and Sue don't have chemistry. Sue and Johnny don't have chemistry. Johnny and Ben don't even talk, I think, the entire movie. There's just no chemistry at all.
Yeah.
So bad.
That's pretty much all there is to say about this one. It's a misfire on every level. It's just so like terrible. The whole aspect too about them once they get their powers, all that happens is now they're just stuck in this like government facility being tested
for a year. And Reed's not even there. He ran away.
Reed's not there, and they don't even get to like explore their powers themselves. We don't see them like explore their powers themselves at all. It's like, what are we doing? Why are we skipping over interesting parts?
They also have almost the same character arcs as the original characters do. Like Ben Grimm is still just like struggling with the fact that he's the Thing and he feels alone because Reed is like not doing everything he can to get him back. In his perspective, Reed is just doing everything he can to fix the problem and get them back to being normal. Johnny wants to keep his powers because he thinks they're cool and he's being like brazen and obnoxious. And Sue is just kind of there. She's just kind of watching.
Not even like they don't even have that strong, well-defined of character arcs. Like Sue,
I'm saying it's I want to get turned back. I'm saying it's the exact same character arcs as the first one, just done worse.
Yeah, like without a doubt, 100%. And again, they try and do the same thing of like they're coming together to form the team, and Franklin Storm is believing in them and thinking they'll be able to do great things. But it's like, number one, why? Like he doesn't even know really each of these people other than his own 2 kids, but he's just like, yeah, they'll do great things. I believe in them, even though they, under Victor's influence, decided to randomly fire up the thing so that they could be the first ones to do it, to go to the alternate dimension.
They undermine his authority and then fuck everything up.
They mess it all up. Yeah. So yeah, it was just not entertaining at all. The action set pieces, very poorly done. CGI.
It's only one action set piece, really. It's like, the only action that happens is when they're in the other dimension. There's no other action really in the whole movie, except Doom escaping.
That, or like in the forest when they get Reed, but it's just not.
It's just so
not a lot there. But yeah, overall, it was very difficult to remain plugged in. I mean, it was gonna be touch and go there if I was gonna like finish watching the film, because I was like, I don't.
Dude, it's so.
It was only like 30 minutes left that I needed.
I was pretty entertained watching the first one, but watching this one, I was like, I don't know if I could finish this one. I've never even seen it before, so I have to for the show. And this thing is terrible. Thoughts on their interpretation of Doctor Doom, comparing that to the first interpretation of Doctor Doom? I guess we can compare interpretations of all 5 characters, really.
Yeah, I mean, I like that now he was like an active part of the team, because again, he goes out there in the first one, he's on the ship and everything, but there's a clear like difference. He's not like with them in the team. He's like their boss, CEO, whatever, that was just funding it. This one, he's like, in the gutters with him. But I don't know. He just had this strong, like, I hate the world. I think the world's doing terrible things. Now I will take revenge on them and something. I'm like, this just feels still not like Doctor Doom's real motivations and everything. And also wasn't all that compelling because he didn't have as strong of a antagonism with Reed Richards. Like he says at the end, I think in the final battle, he's like, "Oh, you always think you were smarter than me," and then Reed's like, "I am smarter than you," and then very clearly telegraphs that he's about to send the thing to punch him. So it's like, okay, Doctor Doom easily could have just moved out of the way from that. So not quite that smart, Reed, but
Yeah, I
they
think it's
didn't
also
really have
dumb
that
that
actual rivalry. Like there wasn't any like Reed and Victor being mortal enemies in this one.
yeah, it's really
So
dumb in that final battle when Doctor Doom has beaten all the other members of the Fantastic Four, and Reed has to come up with something and really like save the day. Instead of using his wit and his intellect, he just sucker punches the guy and just happens to get a lucky shot.
yeah,
Just dumb.
with his rubbery body, he's like putting up a fight or something. I'm like, what is
Like this is
happening?
not in a 1-to-1 physical fight. You're losing to Doctor Doom in every
Yeah,
iteration of the characters, 100%. The only reason that Reed Richards can beat Doctor Doom in the comics is because he is genuinely smarter and he uses his intellect. And you're just not
yeah,
doing that. You're just throwing punches now, which is just so dumb. Uh, I think the thing that I liked about this interpretation of Doctor Doom, I think the interpretation of Victor Von Doom, like the human character, is just as lame as the first one. Is he's just a different type of like asshole, which I
yeah.
mean, I guess they're always trying to go for Victor Von Doom, but I feel like there's more to his character here. I like the transition from him being just like a dick to him being like he's stuck in that universe for a year. He becomes connected to it. It becomes his like place. I like the idea that he becomes a little bit larger than life, almost like a god, which is kind of cool. And I do like that he is more intimidating than that first iteration of Doctor Doom. Like he's out there, he's blowing heads off, he's killing people. He just gives no fuck about human beings, and he's trying to destroy the Earth.
Yep.
Like I think that is a more intimidating version of Doom. But holy fuck, he looks so dumb. He looks so stupid. Why did they
Yeah.
just morph his suit to his body? He looks terrible. Looks awful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. How many egg teleporters out of 5 for 2015 Fantastic Four? Fan Four Stick, as it's known.
Fan Force stick. I'm giving it 1.5.
Dang. Brutal. I'm giving it 1.5 too.
All right, let's go.
All right. Now that brings us to the 2025 iteration of Fantastic Four. First steps. The first time it'll be part of a larger universe, the MCU. However, this one's off on its own alternate Earth. So there really is no connection with the MCU in this initial debut of our Fantastic Four characters. So we saw it together,
Yeah, we did.
opening weekend. What did you think? What are your initial impressions?
I really enjoyed it. I think it is definitely a step up from the other two iterations. I like that they kind of tell the origin story, but they do really skip ahead to them just being like established and a family. I think that's a much more enjoyable way to experience the Fantastic Four because we've seen the origin story done and just been botched twice now. We can just skip it.
Mm-hmm.
We know that they hit a cloud of some kind in space and develop powers. You know, that just is what it is. And there's still like hints of kind of the effect of that origin story. There's moments where the Thing is talking to Reed, and Reed is trying to be apologetic of what has happened to him. And I like that this version of the Thing has just come to terms and accepted his existence and is more or less okay with it. Because we've
Mm-hmm.
seen twice now the iteration of the Thing that is depressed at his state of being and wants it to change, as opposed to being like accepting and like getting to that point. And we just didn't need to see it again because Michael Chiklis knocked it out of the park. He did it perfectly. We don't need to see that part. I just want to see the Thing being the Thing and being great at being the Thing. And he did. He was great.
Mm-hmm.
I think they had wonderful chemistry with one another as a cast. I think we had a lot of, more so than any of the other iterations, just great scenes of them being that like superhero group together and doing things together as a family. I thought that that was wonderful. It's very much Incredibles coded, especially in that opening montage, which I do think it's a little cheap to copy, but I liked it. I think it's still fun. It works. It works in the story that they're telling. It works in the universe that they're setting up.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I just thought it was enjoyable. There's not much I don't like about it other than it does get a little sluggish at certain points.
Mm,
and I was not like on the edge of my seat for like the action sequences because, as Lillian said, because she watched it with us, it is a little bit predictable at times. You know, it is getting back to basics in terms of superhero stories, and it is very much basic as a result, which has its pros and cons. You know, they do like I think they knock out the basic story kind of out of the park pretty easily. They hit all the points they need to hit. They have the characters go on arcs. They are enjoyable to watch. Uh, but also it doesn't that doesn't like change anything, and it doesn't push the medium of comic book movies forward in a lot of ways. It's just kind of enjoyable, I suppose. Your initial
gotcha. Mm. So I thought it was okay. I thought it was just okay. But I agree with you. Yeah, like after we finished watching it, I thought a strength of the film was that they made it feel very simple, straightforward, that back to basics approach where it's not overly long, it's not overly complicated. There's just a very clear, straightforward villain and Galactus, what he's trying to do, and then the stakes that they set up of it's the baby or the world. And Fantastic Four is obviously going to try and save both. So I appreciated that aspect to it. I also liked that this one didn't have very many action set pieces, although I did sleep through one of them. We'll talk about that. You can fill me in on what exactly happened there. But yeah, I was very tired, had been up all night beforehand and then all that day. Um, and I thought I could make it through, thought I could stay up, stay awake,
he couldn't
but
do it.
fell out for what was it, like 15 ish minutes or something like that?
It was a good 15, yeah.
10, 15. Okay.
I looked over and
Um,
you were conked out, bro. And it was the loudest part of the movie. And I was like, I thought about trying to wake you up, but I was like, I knew that you had been awake for like 48 hours, like 36 something hours.
yeah.
And I was like, he'll be fine. Let him sleep it out, you know. Poor guy tuckered
What if
himself
I
out.
slept through the whole movie though?
I
And
think
wake
you would
up
have
and
gone and
everyone's clapping.
rewatched it
I'm
at
like,
some
oh.
point before we would have probably pushed back the recordings. You can go watch it again.
Mm.
You needed sleep more than you needed to watch the Fantastic Four.
I had to lock in.
Had it been like the Odyssey or something or Avatar or something, I would have woken you up. But I
Oh,
mean,
well, I would never fall asleep during that. Probably
I
not.
think you would if you were 36 hours without sleep. I don't think you could muscle through a 3.5 hour Avatar movie. I'm sorry, man.
No, I'd be so locked in. James Cameron, he could never put me to sleep. Okay. But
You
yeah,
want to
so
bet?
I knocked out a little bit in Fantastic Four. Let's do it. Let's stay awake 36 hours and then go to watch
Let's do it.
Fire and
I'll
Ash.
do it. You think I won't?
We should do that. That'll be a fun little game.
I want to watch
Uh,
it. I want to watch it not sleep deprived first, though, so I don't actually miss anything.
um, but yeah, so I did miss that portion, but I thought like when it was getting towards the end, I'm like, oh, this is gonna be like the last action set piece. This was a film very light on action, but I thought
Yeah, it
it
was.
worked for what it was doing.
Yeah,
So
I think it was a
yeah,
good choice.
I enjoyed that approach to it. Here are my issues though with the film. First, again, Reed Richards.
Mm.
Pedro Pascal is starring as Reed. I want to get your thoughts on what you thought of him. But then second, uh, for the team, as you said, they felt already established and they're a nice family unit. But there's just no conflict. There was no conflict between them aside from
Yeah,
one scene where Sue and Reed are like having a slight argument where he's like, "Well, the most obvious ethical available option would be handing over the baby," and she's like, "No," and he's like, "Yeah, no," and then that was it. And it's like, okay, there's just no real conflicts between any of them. And then I also don't know what were the actual arcs because they didn't have an arc as a team, like coming together, because they
mm.
already were very solid together, and none of them really had any oppositions towards each other. So then, what was the actual arc as well for any of them? That's just what I didn't feel throughout the film. I didn't feel like there's a strong change for them. Silver Surfer had a bit of an arc,
Yeah,
but again, that one because Rise of the Silver Surfer and everything. I mean, if you know what that character's about, you know what's coming for it. I thought it was delivered fairly well. Again, she just sort of shows up at the very end to knock Galactus in. It's like you could have helped slightly earlier when we were very worried about the baby getting snatched up, but she came through in the end ultimately. So shout out to her. But yeah, I don't know. I didn't feel like there's much at stake in conflict within the team itself. Like we were all kind of just chilling. we're like, we're gonna find out a plan. We'll just move the whole planet. If that doesn't work, we'll just push Galactus into the thing. It'll be
Sure.
easy, scot free stuff. And I
I
was
think it
like,
was definitely focused on like the external conflict for sure.
mm-hmm.
Of I think they could have done better creating an internal conflict with like debating whether or not to give up the baby. Like that debate was kind of served up on a platter for the story, and they kind of sweep it under the rug with like a one little scene where Reed's kind of considering it, not even considering it, but just weighing it as an option
Yeah,
because he's kind of a dick, you know. But it is a legitimate thing that they probably could have discussed, and it could have been like a heated debate where it was like 2v2 or 3v1 or something of like we have
yeah,
to consider it, you know. But I don't know. I don't think they were wanting to make them seem like they were willing to give up the baby, like
right.
in any kind of serious way.
But
But I
that's the
think that
thing.
could have
Like,
been an
push
interesting point.
Reed in that direction or something, or where again, not even where it's like, oh, I legitimately want to give up the baby, but where he's constantly like, no, we'll do a bait and switch. We'll put the baby on the line. We'll do this and that. But I'll find a way to outsmart Galactus, or I'll be able to come up with a solution. And the rest of them are like, we don't want to risk that. So then they can have more conflict. But when Sue and Reed, they both like agree without speaking it. They're like, yeah, we'll put the
Yeah, it
baby.
goes too quick.
We'll do a bait and switch.
I think Sue would have been more hesitant for that plan, and I
Yeah,
think
and
it
they have
should have taken more convincing.
the uncles are like, no, we're not going to do that. But then again, that's played for laughs, not like a serious disagreement. And then they immediately are like, okay, yeah, we'll do the plan. So I just wanted
Yeah,
more there.
sure.
And then with Reed overall, with Pedro Pascal,
Hmm.
again, he's been in a lot of things lately. I think he's worked in every single thing I've ever seen him in, except this. I did not really buy his Reed Richards.
Interesting.
Yeah,
You saw Materialist, right?
I did. And I bought him as the part he was playing in that. Um, in The Last of Us, again, there was, would he be able to fall into the role of Joel? Absolutely did. Crushed that part. Um, so yeah, again, like everything I've seen him in until now, I've been amazed at how consistently he's able to just crush the role. But this one, I just didn't buy it. I did not get invested in that character. I did not get invested in like any of the attributes that Reed is supposed to have that he's supposed to be embodying. And the whole like super genius stuff, like you were saying, you didn't really buy it in the 2005 version. I did not buy that here in this version.
Really?
Um, so, and then it was a bit of a shame. I feel the same way about The Thing. Like he's just kind of there, is okay. I thought Sue Storm was great,
She was
and
great.
I thought Johnny Storm was also great.
Yeah.
Less again, like he isn't as Human Torch as we've seen in the earlier iterations. Like they say how he's like, oh, I love women and everything, but we don't even see that aspect to him really,
Mhm.
or the whole hothead part of it either, or the like, yeah, just him being an arrogant show off type deal. I didn't see many shades of that, but I thought the performance was still like very interesting from
Mhm.
Joseph Quinn. It was entertaining. Um, a lot of shades of Ryan Gosling in there, interesting enough. But
Sure. I can see that. Yeah. I can make that
yeah,
argument. You can
I
make that
enjoyed it.
argument.
So I liked him a lot. I liked Sue Storm a lot. I
Yeah.
wish we had more for The Thing. Again, he has that little subplot of the one of who's it, Natasha Lyonne.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, that's cool. But again, there's like no conflict there. Again, the kids aren't really scared of him. She's going up, just chatting with him. And then later, he just shows up there to see her specifically. It's like, okay, it's kind of cute, but nothing
I wish it
is really
matriculated into
going on there.
something, you know,
Yeah.
something developed out of it. Um, Again, that's another thing that would have been like an interesting point for Ben to maybe consider giving up the baby, of like him like looking at all these kids and looking at this woman that he has like feelings for, and looking at this entire neighborhood that he grew up in, and having that nostalgia, and then kind of considering maybe we should, you know, give up the baby. That would have been interesting to see.
Yeah.
But you know, they didn't want to go deep with it, and they kept the
Don't
plot
want to go
very
dark with
they kept the plot very external, you know, of just there is Galactus and we have to stop him. You know, they went for it.
indeed.
I see your argument. I am a little bit different opinionated on Reed Richards. I could see where you maybe didn't like Pedro Pascal's performance, but I think the character they wrote in my opinion, was a stronger Reed Richards than previous iterations. I think maybe had a better performance been put to that same character that they wrote, I think maybe you could enjoy it more. I think they relied
Mm.
upon his intelligence a lot more in this movie than his powers, which I think was a good move. Just because him being able to stretch is like advantageous only like this much, only like a smidgen. His biggest superpower is the fact that he's just a fucking genius. And I think they rely upon that more in this movie, which I enjoy. And I think perhaps they will carry that forward in, Doomsday and more MCU, projects. And I like that version of Reed Richards that they're going for. I think he is the perfect amount of like kind of being a dick while also like
Is
just
he ever
trying
a
to.
dick in this though? There's not
I think
one scene where he was like a dick. He
I think he
was
does things that are like obnoxious, where he like is like trying to say things in a manner that is very technical and very robotic, that is irritating in a lot of ways. And I
mm,
think maybe Pedro Pascal just isn't the guy to play that kind of robotic, sciencey nerd.
yeah,
But I think the character itself, I think they were sticking more to traditional Reed Richards than the other iterations have in terms of like the
yeah,
written character. And maybe had a different, maybe had the guy who played Reed Richards in the original played Reed Richards in this one, and had like this writing for him to go off of. Maybe it'd be a better performance. I don't
yeah.
know. I like how they wrote his character. I thought it was fun.
Again, I see the shades of like again that thing when I
Mm-hmm.
forget the exact words, but the second one's like ethical available solution is like giving up the kid.
Mm-hmm.
And, like that's him, and he says the thing of I think of all the terrible possibilities,
Yeah.
um, like that on the page. Yes, like that is them trying to get more at the basic essence of Reed Richards, which I like. It's just again he gives that up like immediately in that conversation. But he's like, but okay, we'll wait, we'll figure out something. Um, I'm like he should have pushed harder in that, or again like push harder and be like, no, I can figure this out,
Mm-hmm.
even if it means we may have to risk the baby, but I'm going to because I'm so smart, because I'm such a genius, like we'll be able to get around this. But you just
I
need to
agree.
trust in me, like the team needs to fall around me for this. Like that's what I wanted more of.
Mhm.
He felt like similarly to the 2005 one, just like overly passive in some ways, or like
Sure.
too easy to compromise rather than
I think they're too scared to make him an asshole,
yeah.
like a full
But
asshole.
it's like Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man, like that was his whole mo in the first movie. Is he's like extremely charismatic and very witty,
Mm-hmm.
but like a dick. But yet
He
everyone fell in
carries
love
that
with
with
him.
him too for the rest of the MCU, even into
Exactly. Yeah.
Endgame.
So it's like you can do that. You can get away with that. Again, Reed shouldn't be like cracking out witticisms all the time, but you can make him be like a dick, but still be likable in other ways.
Yeah.
So, and even that would have been like a good arc. Like the whole thing is now he has to stop being as much of a dick because now he has a family and he has to start shifting some of those priorities and um, just like finding a new way to approach things and connect with people. Like that would have been a nice arc to have in this. But
Mm-hmm.
again, I don't know what Reed's arc is specifically in this. So a bit concerned because he's supposed to be the new leader of the Avengers in Doomsday. Again, it's supposed to be that whole Secret Wars thing. It's supposed to be Reed and Victor, like it's their show. So we'll see how Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah,
plays
it's really
Victor.
it's really late in the game to be bringing in two brand new characters to lead the movie.
Yeah,
Which is what is concerning. But also, I don't give a fuck about the MCU, so we'll just see what happens.
but yeah. So I'll be watching it, of course, but I'll be a little concerned
Sure,
with how they've established Reed in this
understandable.
one.
Yeah,
But overall, I mean, yeah, it wasn't like a complete fumble. Definitely a massive step up from the 2015 version, and a good return to form of just like simple, straightforward comic book movies. And the aesthetic, I think, is the strongest part of this film. Like the
Oh
whole
yeah,
retro
it looks great.
futurist.
I think it's shot. I think it could have been shot better. Of course, I think there are times
Yeah,
where the high dynamic range of those digital cameras are really working against the aesthetic they were trying to build. But I think compared to a lot of other MCU products recently, especially the Disney Plus shows, it definitely looks a lot better. Like the
yeah,
aesthetics alone and the set design is doing a lot of the work, and they actually put in a little bit more effort into lighting in this one as opposed to some other iterations,
yeah.
it's a good thing. It's something that I'm starting to look out for when I'm watching newer movies of like how well did they light this? How well did they shoot this? Like, I know most things are going to be shot on digital, and I personally like the aesthetic of film. I like, deeper contrasts, and I'm looking for that sort of look in a movie, and so I'm seeing how different people can use digital cameras in a way. I'm trying to be more open and receptive to digital filmmaking, and so I'm looking for good examples of where I think it's done well. And I
Hmm.
think David Fincher does it. I think the people behind Better Call Saul did it with Better Call Saul, which is shot incredibly well. And I think this one is a step in the right direction, just not quite all the way, because they still have to fight the uphill battle of making it high quality for a streaming channel, because ultimately it's just going to end up on Disney Plus after its theatrical run, and so they're playing into that need to make it as high quality as possible for that streaming platform.
Hmm. Yeah, I think just from the like world building perspective, where they chose to set it, the setting exactly that they chose was great,
Mhm.
and the production design, a lot of the costuming, I
It's
thought
awesome.
worked really well. Again,
The
like the
Fantastic Four
Fantastic Four
suits looked great.
suits, yeah, they
They
look
looked great.
great. The astronaut suits look great. So I was a fan of that.
The little car they
Yeah,
have is really cool. The
yeah, the
Fantastic
car's
Four car.
cool.
The whole
So
living room actually looks really, really
I
good.
was down for that. I was
The like
very
fireplace TV thing was really cool.
that was like the best part of the film for me. Ultimately, was just
I
that
love the
aesthetic
aesthetic.
that they
Yeah,
went for in the production design and costuming.
yeah.
Um,
They
but
really
yeah,
went all the way for it too. They went all the way in kind of the montage sequences of doing those multi-frame montages that are in it that feel very retro. They did the kind of newsreel thing that looked like it was shot on 8mm cameras.
hmm,
I think the aesthetic was done close to flawlessly.
yeah.
Not quite, but close.
So I love that aspect. CGI is still rough in some places.
Sure.
Again, the thing interesting that he's got a beard. Thought that was cool, but
I thought the thing looked all right.
yeah,
You know,
some instances of him didn't look great. Same with Galactus.
there are moments where when the lighting is flat on him because he's a CGI on the thing because he's a CGI character, there's just no depth in like the rocks that are making him up. That he
Hmm.
just kind of looks like he's like poorly rendered.
Yeah.
But there are times where they're lighting the scenes. Like I think the scene where him and Reed are talking to one another at night right before they shoot off to go find Galactus. I think he does look really good in that scene because they've like pitched him down really low light and they've given like a little like rim light behind him to kind of highlight his shape a little bit and also give shadows from the rocks onto his body, to give him depth and definition. And he looks
Hmm.
better in those shots.
Yeah. I thought again, yeah, CGI nowadays we know they're overworked, those VFX artists,
Oh,
so
poor guys. Yeah.
things don't always look the best in the vlogs, but other
Yeah.
parts, I mean, look really solid.
You missed the part where they ripped off Interstellar. You were asleep for that part.
Well, I saw it briefly. Again, I did. I was awake slightly. I looked up and I saw like the wormhole thing, and I was like, "Yeah, this is just Interstellar." And then
Yeah.
I knocked back out right after that. So
Yeah.
I glimpsed it. I peeked it, but
If you had looked at Galactus' ship, I thought it looked okay, as far as CGI goes.
hmm,
I think it was still, I was seeing too much and I was becoming like visually overwhelmed with the stimulus of so much CGI, like graphics coming at me. There needed to be less for me to be focusing on to really fully grasp it.
hmm.
But I think it was done well as far as CGI goes. I think Johnny Storm floating around looked really good. I think Silver Surfer
Silver
looked
Surfer
great.
looked pretty good. I like the
Yeah.
reflections of Johnny
Mhm.
in Silver Surfer when they did
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Looked very
Things
cool.
like that look good. I read somewhere that Kevin Feige at some point met with the team that did the CGI for the creator to get
Mm,
advice on how to make high quality CGI for like lower costs and lower production time or shorter production times to make it more efficient.
hmm.
And if that's the case, I think it's great.
Yeah, they definitely need to step that up. Though, well, they're still filming the Doomsday, which is supposed to come out in like a year and a half, December
Yeah.
2026, something like
I
that.
think there's some kind of rumors that like they're having a mess with the third act and they don't really know how to end it.
I'm sure they are, but yeah, that's one where like how are the VFX artists supposed to like get a handle on stuff when they get new stuff constantly? Like when
Yeah.
they'll just go back, reshoot some things, Then they decide, oh no, we want to switch this up, change this. So they got to reshoot other things. And again, they're constructing like the whole backgrounds because I'm sure they shoot on just like entire green screen, green floor, everything.
Yeah.
Like
I
they
mean,
do
it'll
with
probably be
Endgame.
like how they did Endgame, which was big practical sets that only extended so far, and then just giant green screens wrapped around those practical sets.
Yeah. So you have to have all that to create the world and then all the characters. I mean, who knows how many of those characters need to be fully like CGI?
Yeah.
I'm sure it's a massive mess. So
Yeah. I mean,
good luck
every
to them.
single member of the Fantastic Four requires CGI at some point. Almost
Yeah,
every superhero requires CGI at some point.
exactly. So good luck to the teams that are going to be working on the next Marvel film. But
They need to unionize, man.
this
They
is
need
it
a
for a
union.
while. Fantastic Four First Steps will be the last MCU film for like what, 15 months, 14 months?
Yeah. It's a crazy wait, you know. I mean, they have some shows coming out for the rest of the year. They have Wonder Man coming out at some point and some
Do
other stuff.
they? Is that a thing? Is that actually
Yeah,
real?
it's
Or,
coming out in December. Yeah.
oh, interesting. I know they had Ironheart come
That
out
just came out. Yeah.
to zero fanfare. I've heard
Yeah.
nothing about it since it dropped. So,
Something about Marvel Zombies coming back at some point.
mm,
I think they have like little things to keep people interested, but I think this is in response to the 2021 to 2023 era of just dumping as many things as possible.
yeah,
They're gonna slow down and kind of recalibrate, which means from now until what, October of next year or whatever, November, we're gonna have DCU time, I guess. DCU products coming
true.
out.
But we're only going to have, I guess, they have Peacemaker. Then they're going to have Supergirl, which I think
Yeah,
maybe is summer of next year. I don't know, actually. And then I don't know when Lanterns drop, but that's my number one most anticipated so far
sure.
of
And then
DCU
I
stuff.
think and then they're doing a season 2 of the animated show, whatever it's called,
Um, Creature Commandos.
Creature Commandos. Maybe I
Yeah, I
didn't even
think they
watch
are.
that one.
I think it's been renewed.
We'll
Yeah, I
see.
didn't watch it either.
Oof.
Um, yeah, so interesting time for comic book movies at the moment. We're in a little bit of a holding pattern and a restart for the DCU. And then this Fantastic Four was supposed to be sort of a refresh, bring in those iconic Fox characters that MCU's been trying to get a hold of forever. So now they've done it. Now next up is the new Avengers film, which would be, what, 7 years after the previous one. So a big solid gap there. We'll see
Yeah.
if it takes over the world like those recent Avengers films, or if people aren't as hyped. I'm not too sure. It'll definitely hit a billion, but will it go to like 2 billion or something? I don't know.
Hmm. I mean, we'll have to see how hyped people are for it, or what kind of marketing they're doing, what kind of announcements they make. That's how you get hype going, is dropping new people who might be in it, or spreading rumors about who might appear. I mean, Robert Downey Jr. is returning for better or worse, and the Russo brothers are returning. You know, they're doing everything they can to bring hype back to make it more profitable again.
Indeed.
So we'll see. We'll see how it pans out. But for Fantastic Four First Steps, Ryan, how many Heralds out of 5?
2.5 heralds out of 5.
Damn, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
How about
You just
you?
didn't like it. Maybe if you hadn't fallen asleep for those 15
You
minutes, maybe you give it a 3.
think
I'm gonna
it's
give it.
1.5 stars worth in that
I'm gonna give it 3.5.
3.5? You came down from your 4 stars
Yeah,
after the initial viewing. What changed?
you just do think about some things. You ponder.
Mm,
It's a high 3.5. It's a 3.5.
gotcha. Do
I
you still
enjoyed
think
it.
it's better than Superman?
They're neck and neck.
Neck
It's up
and
for
neck.
debate.
Okay, interesting.
I think they have similar flaws of like character arc problems and action sequence problems.
Yeah.
And but I think the vibes that they give off, the aesthetics that they give off, and like the entertainment that they are also very similar. So it's hard to like it's they have similar problems and similar strengths, but they are two very different aesthetically. So it's
Mhm.
hard to kind of compare. They're both doing different things here.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. I was clearly a bigger fan of Superman.
Sure.
And then as far as the Fantastic Four films that we have, and excluding the 90s one, that was not really meant to be a real film.
Yeah.
So of these three true big budget studio films, 2005, 2015, 2025. Your favorite is First
It's going to
Steps?
be First Steps, yeah. But your favorite is the first one?
It is, because I was thinking before coming onto the pod, I was like, which one would I rather rewatch? And I would
Interesting.
pick 2005 easily,
I don't think
even though I hadn't even seen all the First Steps because there's 15 minutes that would be new to me. I'm like, I'd rather watch the 2005 one. I just think there's more there. I think there's actual character arcs. I think the Michael Chiklis one knocks it out of the park.
it does knock it
It's
out of the
more
park.
entertaining.
Absolutely.
I think there's a fun too, like all those little tidbits of like Reed waking up and his face is just like smushed. His rubbery face is like drooping down. They just have a lot of fun with just like these are superheroes that have random superpowers. Here's how it affects their everyday life sometimes. Like the little montage of he's reaching across the room to grab toilet paper with his outstretched hand. I'm like, it's just fun. Like it has those old school comic book vibes that I'm down for. I just didn't connect as strongly with the cast in First Steps to make me want to like rewatch it and go through all that again. So
Maybe.
yeah, but unanimous on the 2015 version being
Dude, it is
good.
just abysmal. So boring. Objectively
Tragic.
boring.
Truly tragic.
Indeed. Anyway, that's all the time we have. If you'd like to give your thoughts on the show, you can email us at boxofficeshowpod@gmail.com.
Our main title theme for the show is Sundown by Joseph McDade.
If you like the show, please give us 5 stars whatever podcast app you're listening to, and be sure to tune in next week. Have a great rest of your day.